All right, here we go, 3.5 day 2. Graphing slope-intercept form. So we went through some more details on 3.5 day 1. Make sure you watch that. Here we go. What is the y-intercept? What is the slope? When you're writing this down, it helps if you put the negative with the top number. It just helps, so you're not confused and sticking it with both numbers. So here we go, we gotta graph this. We touched on this yesterday. Where's my first point going to go? Make sure you put your y-intercept on the y-axis. Your first point always goes on the y-axis here. Now this, remember, this is not a specific location on the graph. It's more like a treasure map telling you where to find the next point, okay? So it's telling me to go down 6, right 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right 1, draw the line. That's all there is to it. Y equals 8. Does that look like that? What kind of line is it? Don't forget the stuff that we've already learned. That's a horizontal line at 8. All right? So now, let's talk about number 8. Does this look like that equation? No. What form do we need? How do the equations need to look? How am I going to get it there? What's the first step? Not like terms cannot be combined. Write them in this order so we're used to writing with the x first and then the number second, so you can identify your slope and your y-intercept. Don't put the x on the, you'll get things backwards. What's the next step? So let's talk about what's going on here. What number's in front of x? So this is -1 divided by 4. So write it like that. So you can see what the slope is, all right? We want that there for our slope. Now, over here, that comes out to be a decimal. That's gonna make this tricky. So, where's my first point for this graph? Right there at -2.5. Where am I going to move to find the next point? Down 1, right 4. So here, if I'm going down 1 whole puts me right there. I'm still halfway between. And then right 4. So I am, now on the computer that'll be a little easier for you to do. It's tricky to do freehand to kind of make it look good. But there's your slope. Pretty simple method, a little harder when this is a fraction, but there you go. All right, make sure you get the y by itself before you start doing anything. Now, a little refresher here. It says, identify the x-intercept. How do I find an x-intercept? There you go. Solve. So my x-intercept here is 1. Little refresher from last unit because that's going to come back. Word problems, everybody's favorite. All right, linear function g in a relationship where the dependent variable increases 3 units for every 1 unit the independent variable increases. So if I look at a typical equation, I'm just going to make something up here. Okay. where is the independent variable? Where's the dependent variable? So when it's talking about dependent variable and independent variable, it's talking about x and y. The dependent is the y. So it says y increases 3 for every 1 unit x increases. So we're talking about a ratio between y and x. What other things is a ratio y over x? Or the change in y over the change in x? Slope. That should be in your notes from yesterday. So I'm telling you the slope is 3 over 1. All right? Next piece of information, g of 0 equals 3. We've talked about function notation. What does this mean? What was plugged in for x? 0, 3. So if I plug in 0 for x, what does that tell me? The y-intercept. It tells me right there, the y-intercept is 3. So the slope is 3 over 1, the y-intercept is 3. I have an equation. Y equals 3 over 1, x plus 3. You could put just a whole number 3 here, that'd be fine. What does this problem ask me to do? Identify the slope. Found it. Got it. Y-intercept. Got it. X-intercept. How do I find an x-intercept? Subtract, divide, the x-intercept is -1. So, started off kind of confusing, but really it's just telling me the slope. Function notation is telling me the y-intercept. I write the equation, and then I use the equation to find the x-intercept. Let's do it again. Don't need to practice those. Come down here. Again, to decrease 2 units for every 5, it increases. What is the slope? Told you, write the negative with the top number, because that's going up and down. What is the y-intercept? Write the equation. Identify the slope, -2/5, y-intercept 4, and x-intercept. How do I find an x-intercept? Solve. Subtract 4 from both sides. How do I solve this equation? Remember, reciprocal just means flip it. Don't change the sign. Put that in the calculator if you're not good with your fractions. Comes out to +10. And that's where we're going to leave it. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a rush. Ask questions.